Hi, my name is Lay and this is my beauty channel. Today we are going to be doing a review and a demo on the Morphe. This is the 18A palette. Fun story, I walked into Ulta and they had 3 different versions of these. These 18 pan eyeshadows are in collaboration with an Instagrammer. Honestly, I'm not really 100% I don't know much about the Instagrammer, but I know that they had her picture up on the screen. If I can find it, I will put like a little piece of it right here of where it came from. But anyways, there was a A, F, and then there's one that was neutral, so I'm going to assume that it's an N. This one is the one that has like all the blue shades in it. It has a lot of neutral tones, very muted and cool tone eyeshadows, so it has some cool tone browns for you to play with. You can do some neutral looks with this, and we do have those pops of blues. I wanted to do a blue that was a little more wearable. If you do follow my Instagram or you are a member of my YouTube family, then you know that I am a lover of color. Color makes me happy. It brings me to my happy place. And of course, with everything that is going on in the world right now, color, it's keeping me grounded. It's keeping me...
puts me in my zone.
What I did want to mention is that, you know, since everything has like kind of gone to shit, I wanted to sit down and do my makeup. So I wanted to quickly talk about this Morphe palette. Morphe is pretty much infamous for their packaging pretty much looking like this. It's very chic, very plain. It's nice and small, so it's compact enough for you to travel with if that's what you want to do.
Not right now.
So they are definitely known for their sleek packaging, so there's nothing spectacular about this. Their formulas, I do believe, are pretty good formulas. I think they've only had a couple of hiccups. Usually their dramas surround their relationships with other YouTubers and Instagrammers. But if, like, for example, for me, I purchased this with my own money. I don't have an affiliate code. I genuinely just like a lot of their products. I find their products work really well with my skin. They blend. The blendability of a lot of their eyeshadows is amazing, like through the roof, so nice. And, you know, you just, when you don't have a lot of money to be spending $50 and $60 on one palette, spending $20 on an 18 pan eyeshadow palette, it's not bad. And the great thing about this, which is very different from a lot of their usual like larger palettes, is that it comes with a mirror. So there is a mirror in this, and this is like the cool tone one. I actually did come up with this look right here. Not only did I use this palette, but I also used these small little, I don't know what these are called. Oh, these are called the Liquid Glitter Eyeshadows by e.l.f. So I used the blue one. This blue one is called, I think it's Ocean Ire or something like that. So this is like Ocean Ire or something. I think that's what it's called. And then I have 3 more that I haven't used yet, but trust and believe you will be seeing them. So I have like this bronze one, this like duochrome one, and then I have a black one. Let's see if the names are on here. Okay, so this one's Black Magic, Disco Queen, and Flirty Birdie. So I will definitely be using those in a future video or future videos, so don't worry, I will have all of that labeled for you, or I will have all that ready for you coming your way. And then I also got one of these little mini palettes. These are only $3 and you get 4 eyeshadows. So I got the one in Pumpkin Pie because, you know, these pumpkin shades are really versatile and they're great for all year round, especially fall, and fall is usually people's favorite, you know, time of the year. So with all that being said, since everyone is home, I didn't do a lot of talk through in my video. It's pretty quiet, it's voiceover. So please forgive me for that if you do prefer the ones where I'm talking. If you are a newbie and this is your first time joining me, if you enjoy my video, please consider subscribing to my channel. It would definitely mean the world to me. I'm trying to grow this year, and I mean, y'all home, so I can give y'all some content to watch. Anyways, if you want to see how I got this look, let's get into it. All right, hi, let's go ahead and get started. But first, let's take a drink. Yeah. Okay, so this palette actually comes with a slip that has the names of the shades in there, so I'm going to be using those as my reference, and I do keep the slips. If you can, I highly suggest keeping the slips in most of the Morphe palettes because they do have that. So I primed my lid using the P. Louise base in Rumor number 3, I believe, and then the first shade I went into in with is called Applause. It's like a muted grayish brown color, and that's kind of what I'm using as my base shade or my crease shade, and I'm just blending that into the crease area. Next shade I'm going in with is the color Swagger, which is this like brown shade. You can use any deeper brown that you have. This is more of a warm brown, but when it mixes with the taupey brown, it kind of makes like this coffee shade, I believe. At least that's how I see it. Really pretty color, and I'm using the exact same brush. I'm just bringing it down a little bit lower, and then before you move on, you want to bring it up a little bit. So then with the leftover P. Louise base, I'm going to place that on the lid, not necessarily cutting the crease, just kind of placing it in that area to clean it up for the blue shade. The blue shade is called Sky's the Limit, and it's this really pretty like ocean blue. I don't know why it's called Sky's the Limit, because I definitely think of the ocean when I see this blue. So I'm going to be patting that into my lid area. And you could leave it like this, but I did want to add some sparkles. So I'm using this shade, I believe it's called like Into the Blue or Sky Blue or something. If you go to like Target, they have these little glitters by e.l.f. and it's like $5, and I just placed that on top. So just so that my crease area, you kind of want it to blend and it makes like this muddy shade, I just blended that together using a Morphe M506 brush. And then I'm going to tight line my upper lash line just for lashes. I'm not doing a wing or anything. And then I go on to do my lower lash line. So I did add lashes. I used the Ilora definition lashes, and those will all be listed in the description box. But before I move on to my lower lash line, I do like to go ahead and add my concealer to my lower lash line, or at least that's how I did it in this video. So I'm just using my sponge to push that product into my skin and pretty much like blend out, you know, my concealer like I normally would. And then I move on to like where I'm going to like cut it, because I kind of wanted it to be a sharp edge. And I've never really used concealer to clean up, but I did in this instance because someone recommended for me to do that on my TikTok. And no offense, buddy, I don't like it. I'm more so a fan of the tape and then the cleanup rather than using my concealer. I just feel like it's extra product. So going in with Swerve, I'm going to tight line my lower lash line. And then I go ahead and move on to my lower lash line, of course. So I'm just using that dark brown from the palette to blend that out. And then on my inner corner, I'm taking this really pretty like silver shade in here. And this shade is Qualls. I don't know. I'm sorry, it's called BTS. So yes, I use that for my inner corner. Now I'm moving on to my face, and I had like a little bit of a dry scab. I'm using my e.l.f. putty primer, and then for foundation, I'm using the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow. I love this foundation. It gives you a nice, beautiful, radiant skin complexion, and it's inexpensive. Like, come on. The matte one is great too. I love this entire line. So I'm pushing that in using a Real Techniques brush, and then I'm going to move on to my setting. You got to make sure you set it. So I did lose a little bit of that concealer when I added the foundation, and I did want it to brighten up a little bit. So I'm taking the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight all the areas that I would normally highlight. And again, using that wonderful Juno sponge, which I love so much, to push that product into my skin. And I'm using a light hand to do this because I don't want to smudge anything, of course. And then I'm going to move on to setting my face. So I'm using the Beauty Bakery Flour Powder in the shade Cassava. I believe it's Cassava. And I'm just using that to lightly bake underneath my eyes, as well as, you know, like set it. And then I'm going to be highlighting and baking the areas that need the most attention. I have learned that when I want to cut my bronzer, I don't go all the way. It just doesn't work for my face. So right here, I'm setting the rest of my face using my Wet n Wild pressed powder. I believe this is in the shade Warm Tan. And this is just to set the rest of my foundation very lightly so that I can add on any other products that I need to add on, like such as like, you know, my bronzer and my blush and all that good stuff. This just helps it so it doesn't skip at all. And then once I've done that, I go ahead and I move on to bronzer. For bronzer, I have been loving this ColourPop Cosmetics Talk to the Palm bronzer. At first I didn't think this was going to work for me, but it actually turned out to work very well for me. I love this shade. We'll see how it works when I get a tan, but for now it works really well with my pale skin. My pale skin, right? Right. Okay, so once I've done my bronzer, I like to move on to blush. And then for my blush, I'm going to be come on, girl. I'm going to be using my Morphe Brushes Pop of Coral blush, and I'm using the main shade Unapologetic. So now adding that color to my cheeks and a little bit to my nose. I really like the effect that it gives. And then I'm going to go ahead and contour my nose. I'm using the Essence Contouring Duo. They have a light one and then a dark one. This is the darker one, and I'm just speeding past that because I didn't do anything special at all. And then I'm going to move on to my highlighter. For highlighter, I am using a ColourPop Cosmetics Boomin highlight. This was in collaboration with Makeup Shayla. It's a really pretty gold. I really love this shade for my skin tone because it really likes to bring out the warmer tones in my skin. And unfortunately, I do believe that this was limited edition, so you can use whatever you have, or if you do have this highlighter, I highly suggest using it just to warm up your skin. For lips, I'm going in with my NYX Cosmetics Suede Liquid Liners, and this is in the shade Sandstorm. But before I did that, I did line my lips using the NYX Urban Cafe liner. I cannot remember how to say it. It's like slide on, glide on, you better get it right on, or whatever. But it's a cool tone liquid lipstick, and I really love the NYX Suede line. They really make your lips look nice and juicy and voluptuous, even with a matte finish. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of mascara to my lower lashes, and we are done dwelling. We can start posing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, to all of my newbies, if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to my channel and follow me on my social media.
Just got a TikTok and it keep popping. Look at my social medias, everything is on there.
All of my plugs will be down in the description box, so go ahead and check that out. And yeah, I think this look was pretty simple. It was fun. I love the way the shadows blend. I love the way this look came out. It's very neutral. If I look at you head on, you don't see my color until I blink. So I have like the neutral tones around the outside, and then I made sure to do that color on the lid. This is like a color that this is like a technique that I used to do back in the day. Like, I used to love doing this, especially when I was more afraid to experiment with the color, like having bright colors in my crease area. So I definitely suggest this palette. They do have a neutral one and one that's more on like the pink and purple side. So if you're more interested in those, check those out. The formula is amazing. It's the normal Morphe formula. As you can see, I have no patchiness. It blended nicely and the colors blend well together. So 20 bucks for an 18 eyeshadow pan palette.
Not bad.
If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments, and please let me know if this is an eyeshadow palette that you would consider using. Do you guys like looks like this? Does this float your boat? Like a more wearable outlook to color, a more wearable look at color? I mean, I think we're onto something here. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, beauties, stay blessed.